everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm just going to do a quick commentary review on Jimmy Kimmel's return. I sourced the first video from Fox 11 LA, and the second one is a short by MSNBC, and I'll have both links in the description. So if you're all about those raw, honest reactions, you found the right place. I'm Indigo Moon, and here we dive into everything from the latest reaction videos and social commentary to breaking news events and so much more. You never know what's coming next. Just know it's going to be real, fun, and full of surprises. Make sure to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel if you enjoy this type of content. All right, so let's get started. All right, so the first video we're going to be reacting to is from Fox 11 LA. They clipped the couple of minutes that he was talking about his return in Charlie Kirk.
But I do want to make something clear because it's important to me as a human, and that is, you understand that it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. I don't think there's anything funny about it. I posted a message on Instagram on the day he was killed, sending love to his family and asking for compassion, and I meant it. I still do. Nor was it my intention to blame any specific group for the actions of what it was obviously a deeply disturbed individual. That was really the opposite of the point I was trying to make, but I understand that to some that felt either ill-timed or unclear, or maybe both. And for those who think I did point a finger, I get why you're upset. If the situation was reversed, there's a good chance I'd have felt the same way. I have many friends and family members on the other side who I love and remain close to, even though we don't agree on politics at all. I don't think the murderer who shot Charlie Kirk represents anyone. This was a sick person who believed violence was a solution, and it isn't. Ever. And also, selfishly, I am a person who gets a lot of threats. I get many ugly and scary threats against my life, my wife, my kids, my co-workers because of what I choose to say. And I know those threats don't come from the kind of people on the right who I know and love. So that's what I wanted to say on that subject. But I don't want to make this about me because, and I know this is what people say when they make things about them, but I really don't. This show is not important. What is important is that we get to live in a country that allows us to have a show like this. I've had the opportunity to meet and spend time with comedians and talk show hosts from countries like Russia, countries in the Middle East, who tell me they would get thrown in prison for making fun of those in power, and worse than being thrown in prison. They know how lucky we are here. Our freedom to speak is what they admire most about this country. And that's something I'm embarrassed to say I took for granted until they pulled my friend Steven off the air and tried to coerce the affiliates who run our show in the cities that you live in to take my show off the air. That's not legal. That's not American. That is un-American, and it is so dangerous.
All right, so in my opinion, I 100% believe that those tears are fake. And I had mentioned this in my previous video, but I think this whole thing was a stunt to save his show. Just like Stephen's show, who was failing, and we'll circle back around to Stephen Colbert in a minute, his show also had terrible numbers because no one's watching late night shows. First of all, no one is up at 11 midnight during the week because everybody is busting ass working, okay? People are either working 80 hours a week at one full-time job or doing 2 or 3 part-time jobs. I know that's what we're doing. No one has the energy to stay up that late except for liberal wackadoos who don't have a job and are living off of unemployment and disability money. And that's not enough people clearly to save his show. He was hoping to push it. He purposely wanted to push the buttons of the audience to get Disney to take him off the air so that he could go boohoo crying that his First Amendment rights are being violated, all this nonsense. Then everybody would come crying to his defense like they did and got his failing show back and got him 10 million views on his show. Good job, Jimmy. I think your little stunt worked and you saved your show for probably another year or two for nobody to watch. He tried to say in his fake apology apology here that he never had intentions of making fun of Charlie Kirk's death or to blame conservatives. But if you watched his video, he absolutely did. He absolutely was trying to make fun of Charlie Kirk's passing. And he very blatantly said that conservatives were trying to point the finger at leftists like Tyler was one of theirs, but it was really, he was a conservative. He outright said that, even though there is no evidence to prove that he is. If anything, the evidence proves that he was a wackadoo liberal, an SJW type, because he was very adamant about his beliefs in gay and trans rights. That's not a conservative ideology. That's super leftist shit. So that was completely disingenuous, and I absolutely didn't like that. If you're apologizing, you need to take accountability if you're trying to make amends. And this was nothing but part of him trying to save his show by just pushing it to the extreme. And it worked. He made a comment also that even if Tyler was a leftist, that no one on that side in their right mind would condone the murder. We could go on and on about the hundreds of thousands of posts all through TikTok, YouTube, everywhere, of leftists celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk and even calling for the murder of his wife and children. And it's not just like isolated accounts of even 1,000. I mean, there's hundreds of thousands. At this point, it might have hit over 1 million. It is that crazy. So no, you can't say that this is not part of your leftist culture. It very much is, because your media is what made Tyler sick. Your ideologies is what made Tyler sick and pushed him to the point to commit such a horrible act. He tried to say too that he made some public apology right away. He absolutely didn't. I have here the Instagram post that he put out, and it took him 2 days after his show was canceled to put up this post. So I'm gonna show it to you guys here in just a second. All right, guys, so here's the Instagram post I found on his page. I didn't clip the date, I apologize. But this came out 2 days after his show was canceled. Instead of the angry finger pointing, can we just for one day agree that it is horrible and monstrous to shoot another human? On behalf of my family, we send love to the Kirks and to all the children, parents, and innocents who fell victim to senseless gun violence. That took him 2 days after his show, so over a week after the murder. So no, Jimmy, you didn't post this right away. You post this over a week later, 2 days after your show was canceled, because you were pressured into doing it. All right, so this is a post from MSNBC. It's a short clip of Jimmy and his opinions about Trump and the FCC.
The FCC has a tradition of meddling where they shouldn't under many administrations, but it wasn't always like this. There was an FCC commissioner back in 2022 who worked under Joe Biden who was spot on. He wrote, "President Biden is right. Political satire is one of the oldest and most important forms of free speech. It challenges those in power while using humor to draw more people into the discussion. That's why people in influential positions have always targeted it for censorship." You know who wrote that? FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr, who later was appointed chairman of the FCC by this former crusader for free speech.
If we don't have free speech, then we just don't have a free country. It's as simple as that. If this most fundamental right is allowed to perish, then the rest of our rights and liberties will topple. Just like dominoes, one by one, they'll go down.
That was also in 2022. And I wonder, how did that guy turn into this guy?
Who would you like to see replace Kimmel on late night?
Well, a lot of people, anybody could replace him. The guy had no talent. Kimmel look, he was fired, he had no talent. He's a whack job, but he had no talent. And more importantly than talent, he had no, because a lot of people have no talent, they get ratings. But he had no ratings.
Well, I do tonight. The President of the United States made it very clear he wants to see me and the hundreds of people who work here fired from our jobs. Our leader celebrates Americans losing their livelihoods because he can't take a joke.
Okay, I forgot to circle back around to this in the last video, but part of why people are getting so sick of consuming this type of content, of being forced to consume it because it's all over cable and the internet, is because people like Jimmy Kimmel on the left and others, Joy Reid, everybody at CNN, even the politicians like AOC, they like to manipulate the truth and twist everybody's words around and intentions. For example, Jimmy said that the government coerced the affiliates to take Stephen Colbert off his show, and they were trying to do the same to him, right? In one of my videos, we actually reacted to it. The affiliates didn't want Jimmy Kimmel's show. That was how this whole thing started. It was because these two affiliates were so disgusted by his show that evening that they went to ABC and was like, we don't want to play this kind of garbage to our audience, which I've seen a map. If I end up finding it, I'll post it up here. But on this map, it shows that these two affiliates mostly cover southern regions. Those are mostly conservative leaning areas. Yeah, they don't want to watch that garbage. To twist it around as if Trump was the one that forced the affiliates to do it is so disingenuous and is an example of just the garbage that people are tired of consuming. When they know, they've seen it with their own eyes, the media that contradicts that, but yet every media outlet around them is telling them otherwise. It's like the example I made about the sky being red. It's like, the sky is blue, you can see it with your own eyes, but everyone around you is saying it's red. So who's crazy? But in the short, and I will say here, I don't agree with President Trump's comments about people who criticize him are going to get taken off the air. I wholeheartedly believe that he used the word criticize in the wrong context, but I just wish sometimes he would just shut the fuck up, right? You have Caroline, that's your press secretary. Her job is to go out there and speak for you. And if she says something wrong, now you guys have a chance to go back around and rephrase what was said that got everybody angry, right? That's literally her job, is to be the kind of fall guy in a sense, right? If something was to come out and it was said incorrectly, right? And it gives the administration an opportunity to correct that statement. But when the president's just willy-nilly answering questions like that, it's very hard to go back around and correct it. When you're speaking so frankly, the words just come out. I understand doing this type of content format. At least I get to go back and edit and cut out things. But I've said some crazy things on here that I probably should have cut out, but didn't. I think that the president just needs to stick to press conferences and stop just taking questions as he's walking by, getting on Air Force One or wherever it is that he's going and kind of catching these impromptu questions. I don't really like that the FCC chairman went on Fox, only because it didn't help the situation with all of them screaming it's a First Amendment issue. I don't think was the time to be doing that interview. And I like how Jimmy Kimmel's trying to put himself as some grand political satirist when he isn't. And political satire isn't supposed to call for the murder of a political figure. And yes, Charlie Kirk is a political figure. He's also a religious leader. And political satire isn't supposed to call for that. It's supposed to call out the BS of what the government is doing, not inciting fear and violence. And that's all they've been doing. And now they want to try to spin it as this is some kind of political satire? No, absolutely not. You don't get some free pass by trying to pull the political satire card. Absolutely not. You have a fiduciary responsibility to the audience, the greater audience, of what you say and how you say it. And you need to be held accountable for it when you say something outrageous like he did last week. Now, do I think he should have lost his job? No. Do I think it was a stunt to save his show? Yes. All right, that's going to wrap it up for today's reaction. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. If you did, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and drop a comment below with your thoughts. What do you think of the video? Do you agree with my reactions or did I miss something? I'd love to know. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a reaction. Bye, guys.